Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so now we're proceeding with the remaining portion of this passage, and this is going to be an important video. Okay, and to properly benefit from this, I would suggest to stop the video in the beginning, inshallah, and make your attempt. And the sentence that we want you to attempt to analyze starts on watruku, and it keeps going until ta'kulun. So you can write it on a piece of paper. وَاتْرُكُوا مَا حَصَدْتُمْ فِي سُنْبُلِهِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. And I want you to go ahead and take this to 100%. Okay, the fail, the fa'il, the maf'ul bihi onwards, nested structures. Okay, the whatever mawsul sila, a prepositional phrase, and the mustathna. There's a mustathna in here too, and there's nested structures B going on. And I want you to make your attempt. Okay, stop now. We're at 1 minute right now. Stop. Go ahead. Spend 10 minutes on this. Okay, and if you need even half an hour, I think it will be time well spent. If you can go ahead and spend half an hour on this sentence and try to get to your exhaust all your energy and try to get to your highest possible percentage, and then listen to my explanation, you will get much more value out of this. So let's go ahead. Bismillah. قال تزرعون سبع سنين. He said, you will sow for 7 years. وَاتْرُكُوا مَا حَسَدْتُمْ, and leave what you harvest. And leave what you harvest in its covering. Sumbul means the stalk, the covering. Just call it covering. I don't know the technical word for it. And leave what you harvest in its covering, except a small amount from which you will eat. Except a small amount from which you will eat. So when you break the sentence down, top layer, starting with utruku, is the fi'l. So obviously the waw is the fa'il, and then the rest of it is somewhat complicated. From the ma until ta'kulun, how are you going to break that down? There's a prepositional phrase fi sumbulihi. Now, like the more obvious thing would be to take fi sumbulihi and connect it to hasadtum, whereas it would be part of the sila. The ma is mawsul and ma hasadtum fi sumbulihi. So hasadtum fi sumbulihi connects and forms the sila, and then we have the illa, and then we have what comes after the illa. So what's on the right side of the illa is called mustathna minhu, and what's on the left side of the illa is called mustathna. So it'd be a compound maf'ul bihi for utruku. So you'd say fi'l fa'il maf'ul bihi, top layer, fi'l fa'il maf'ul bihi, and then you'd proceed to break down the maf'ul bihi, first starting off with mustathna minhu and mustathna, and then breaking down the mustathna minhu into its mawsul sila, and then working on the qalilan mimma ta'kulun, which we'll do. If that's how you thought it is, let me tell you that is a mistake. And the reason is because the meaning does not support that. It's not and leave what you harvest in its stock. So the harvesting is not happening in the stock. The harvesting is happening on the earth, in the field, in the farm, right? That's where the harvesting happens, right? So the leaving will happen in a stock. In other words, don't remove it from its covering, because the minute you remove it, then it will perish. Okay, so because you're going to keep it for 7 years, and you only want to eat a small amount from it, and you want to leave the rest of it preserved. So basically, top layer is not fi'l fa'il maf'ul bihi. Top layer is fi'l fa'il maf'ul bihi muta'alliq, and this is the main key to this, to unraveling this entire sentence. So I got the marker ready here, and I'm going to go ahead and do this to 100%. Actually, I wrote the sentence on a single line, so it becomes more clear. So here we go. Let me just center this properly. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah. Okay, so there we go. So start off with the fi'l, and then the fa'il. Okay, so I'll go ahead and label that first. Fi'l and fa'il, and this is probably the most important sentence we're dealing with in the last 3 weeks. Okay, so we have our fi'l and our fa'il. So I'm going to go ahead and in the same blue color, I'll circle this and call it muta'alliq. It's in the same sequence. So it's connected to the verb utruk. It's associated to the utruk, because the leaving is happening within the covering. What is being left in the covering? Ma hasadtum is being left, and ma hasadtum obviously is referring to the grains, or the ma hasadtum is referring to the wheat. So leave the wheat in its stock, except the small amount of wheat which you will be eating. Okay, so that's muta'alliq. Now what we do is that we do it like this. Okay, so depending on what you did when you were spending time on it, there's a possibility you might have got this or you might have missed it. So at any rate, this is how it's done. We have our maf'ul bihi. So top layer, 4 major portions. And like I said, we're gonna do this to 100%, and I'll change the color of the marker, inshallah, at each layer. Maf'ul bihi. Okay. So now let's go to green, and then what we do is what's on the right side of the illa. Now the connector is this. Okay, or I could do this too because this is also compound. So jar majrur, jar majrur, jar majrur. Pretty obvious. Okay, illa is called the harf of istithna. Istithna. Okay, and I think we've come across this, and it's gonna come more, inshallah. Yeah, tathanun, istithna. Harful istithna. Harf istithna is okay. What's on the right side of the illa is called mustathna minhu. And I'll pause a minute and refresh your memory on exactly what this is. 1 second. Minhu, mustathna minhu, and over here we have the mustathna. Okay, now let me go ahead and quickly define for you what exactly is a mustathna. In the Hidayat al-Nahu book, he defines it. It says al-mustathna lafdhun, al-mustathna lafdhun yuzkaru ba'da illa wa akhawatiha. Yuzkaru ba'da illa wa akhawatiha liyadulla ala liyu'lama annahu la yunsabu ilayhi ma nusiba ila ma qablahu. Mustathna is an utterance which is mentioned, and the reason he says utterance is because it doesn't have to be one word. Like here, it's a combination of quite a few words, qalilan, and then we have the min, the ma, and the ta'kulun, the waw inside ta'kulun, a bunch of words. So mustathna is an utterance which is mentioned after illa or one of its sisters, in order that it may be known liyu'lama annahu la yunsabu ilayhi ma nusiba ila ma qablahu, in order that it may be known that to it is not attributed what's attributed to what's before it. I'll say that one more time. In order that it may be known that to it is not attributed what is attributed to what's before it. So if I say the tribe came to me except Zayd, by using the illa in the Zaydan, what I've indicated is that to Zayd is not attributed the coming that's attributed to the qawm. So the entire tribe came and Zayd was left out from that coming. So the ruling here is to leave within the covering. So leave all of this wheat in the covering, but excluded from this leaving is the small amount that you will be eating, because obviously you have to take it out in order to be able to consume it. You get it? So mustathna minhu mustathna. Okay, so now let's change the color of the marker and continue. And I think the rest of it should be okay. And the nested structure going on here between qalilan and mimma ta'kulun, I'll get to that in a minute. So first we have this 1 second. Mawsul and sila here, ma and hasadtum. So that's mawsul, and hasadtum is the sila. Okay, over here we have mudaf and mudaf ilayh. So that's wrapped up. Okay, this portion's gone, and we still have a little more to do within the sila, and then there's some to do here. So I'll come to that in a minute. Let's wrap up the sila first. So moving to a different color. So now we take this hasad part and say that's fi'al, and the tum would be the fa'il, and that concludes this. Fi'al and fa'il. Okay. So that's taken care of. Now let's go back to pink. And here, yeah. Okay, one question you might have in your mind is that I mentioned in one of the previous weeks when speaking about the mawsul and the sila that every sila needs to have a third person pronoun referring back to the mawsul. Okay, here that pronoun is missing. It should have been like this: وَاتْرُكُوا مَا حَسَدْتُمُوهُ. مَا حَسَدْتُمْهُ converted to مَا حَسَدْتُمُوهُ. Hu. And then the ma and the hu together would give us the translation of what you harvest. So where did the what come from? It came from the ma plus the hu. Now in grammar, omitting the pronoun that refers back to the mawsul is permissible if it's a maf'ul bihi pronoun. If it's a mansub pronoun, then omitting it is okay. And that's what's happening here. It's called abbreviating, okay, because the meaning is clear. So that's one question that could have come up there. Where's the pronoun? The answer is the pronoun is omitted, and omitting it is permissible. Over here, qalilan is a verb-like entity. It means less. But here, the translation of qalilan is small amount. So it's more like a noun than it is a participle. A participle is like hitting, or written, or writer or writing, or writing, like that. Okay, so it has a occurrence component. The one who's doing the meaning come from the base letter. The one upon whom the meaning come from the base letters is done. The one who possesses the meaning come from the base letters to a higher degree, etc., etc. So all verb-like entities that have the master meaning in them. This qalilan, the noun aspect of it is dominant because it's more like a thing than it is an attribute. Okay, are you following what I'm saying? So qalilan here is more like a noun. So for that reason, we're not going to link the mimma straight to the qalilan as we would do with a verb-like entity, but instead we're going to do mawsuf, sifa, nasr structures B. Okay, it's the translation that's giving that away. So qalilan is mawsuf, and mimma ta'kulun would connect to an omitted word, and for that reason I'm going to draw the box a little bigger. So mawsuf and sifa. Okay, now we pull out our omitted word mawjudan. Okay, one second. I'll pick. Yeah, mawjudan. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep all the colors different. Mawjudan, and then we circle mawjudan, and we circle mimma ta'kulun. Mimma ta'kulun would be the muta'alliq, and mawjudan would be the shibhul fi'l, or you can call it ismul maf'ul. Let's call it ismul maf'ul. More specific, both are correct. Maf'ul. Shibhul fi'l means verb-like entity. Ismul maf'ul is the type of verb-like entity this happens to be. There's no significance to it. Like, it's just for labeling purposes. And then what we do is we just wrap it up. Where the min here is jar, and the ma ta'kulun is the majroor. Okay, now I'm going to stop labeling now because I think running out of room here. And then the ma is mawsul, and the ta'kulun would be the sila. And again, the pronouns omitted. It should have been ma ta'kulunahu, but omitting that hu is permissible. And then finally, we have the fi'l and we have the fa'il, and we're done. So there you go. Important sentence. Okay, now that you've watched it, you can even reattempt one more time. And do what I suggested in the arani asiru khamran, arani ahmilu fawqa ra'si. Remember that sentence where I see myself carrying above my head bread from which birds are eating? Okay, so one is before the fact and one is after watching the video. If you want to sit on it for a day, let it gel in your mind, and come back and try to replicate this on a separate piece of paper without referring to the video, and then compare what you did with the video and see how correct you got. It would be something worthwhile. Okay, so certain things like this are a little tedious, but I mean the benefit is just so immense if you can do this. Let's get back to the text. وَيَكُونُ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ قَهْتٌ, and after that will be قَهْتٌ عَامٌ, a widespread drought, in which you will eat what you stored except a small amount. Okay, so what you stored except a small amount. So over here, the fa'il, the ism of yakunu delayed. Ba'da dhalika would connect to mawjudan and form the predicate of yakunu coming first, because it's adverbial. And qahtun amun onwards would be the ism of kana, ism of yakunu, and it's mawsuf in two sifas. Amun is sifa number 1, and ta'kuluna fihi ma khazantum illa qalilan will be the second sifa, and this is where we get the which. Nested structures B. Okay, and after that there will be a widespread drought in which you will eat what you stored except a small amount. So except a small amount. So again, similar to the previous sentence, a little easier. فيه connects to تأكلون. ما خزنتم the مستثنى منه إلا is the harf of استثناء قليلا the مستثنى. Compound مفعول به for تأكلون. And this drought will prolong. ويطول هذا القحط إلى 7 سنين until 7 years. وبعد ذلك, and after that, يأتي النصر, help will come. ويخصب الناس, and the people will prosper. يخصب. وذهب الساقي, and the wine server went, وأخبر الملك, and he informed the king of the interpretation of his dream. Of the interpretation of his dream, and this concludes the passage. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.